Yeah. I was asked about my near death hero. Um, yeah, I did try to find that person. I ran ads in Northern California newspapers. Um, I asked around the area numerous times. I was 18 or 19, I guess, when I went back up there and surveyed the area and basically realized the miracle that had happened. How this guy was a fucking superhero. He wasn't just an athlete and incredibly aware, intuitive, okay? But he also had the medical wherewithal and the determination to not give up when everyone else was saying I was dead. My mom said that the people in the crowd were giving up. They were all saying he's dead. Someone actually had timed when he started working on me so they could determine when I was dead after 5 minutes. At 6 minutes, the guy was still going. Now, if you think about him sprinting half a football field to the water, then diving in the water, swimming about 50 yards, 60 yards from the edge of the water to the where I was, finding me underwater, having no idea where I was. I think he had an idea because I was going underneath that I might have been underneath of that float. Grabbing me, getting me back to shore, okay, that same half a football field distance, getting the water out of my lungs, and then resuscitating me. It was a miracle that it was a true miracle. You see, I was supposed to come back. This is how it works. Is as corny as that sounds, this is why he was there. I have no idea why he was there that day or why he was watching me, okay? But he was obviously supposed to be there with the talents and the skills that he had. I don't think there was another person within 50 miles who would have had the same abilities this guy had. And I feel so bad about him freaking out because they said I came off the ground like an animal, hitting him and screaming at him and trying to fucking kill him. And I could imagine what he thought. You know what I mean? His thought process at the time. He was probably thinking, oh, he's probably brain damaged, or, you know what I mean? He was probably rationalizing to himself why that happened. But he just walked off, and nobody ever got his name or talked to him. Nothing. My mom grabbed me. My mom grabbed me, of course. She was ecstatic I'm alive. She grabbed me, and I remember her telling me in my ear, Laren, that guy just saved your life. She probably didn't understand why I attacked him. He didn't understand. The crowd didn't understand. It took me a long time to understand. I was so angry at being tricked into coming back. You see, I was tricked into coming back. My near death hero didn't know that. I was tricked. They didn't show me any of the bad shit until after I had already said, okay, I'll go back. Then they showed me all the fucking horrible stuff. I felt deceived and tricked. And when I said I changed my mind, I don't want that. They said, but that's what you chose. And that includes all of the bad things I've done in my life that I feel bad about. It's it's so sad that that's what happened. It would have been nice if I could have just thanked him and, I don't even think my mom got to thank him because he just walked off. I think he was freaked out. because I attacked him the way I did. So, yeah, I wish I could, I wanted to explain to him when it finally hit me, really, really hard, around between the age of 15 and 20, I was really, really struggling with living with it. Living with the first 5 years when I came back, all I could think of was I was desperate, like a junkie for a heroin fix. I mean, I was willing to do anything to have just the tiniest amount of what I had there in that place. And I made my mom take me to every fucking church there was, every religion, everything, until she finally told me that what I was looking for didn't exist here. I think she was finally coming to the conclusion after things that I had told her, and that maybe something did happen. Maybe my mom, she never really said it or mentioned it, but maybe she looked into the near death experience. You know what I mean? Information wasn't available like it is now. Okay. But maybe she looked into it and thought, well, maybe there's something to this. So yeah, I tried and failed. And, if anybody has a relative who talks about saving a little boy drowning at Red Bud Park at Clear Lake, California, in the earliest of the 60s, yeah, leave a comment here. Get a hold of me. I would like to thank his family members. I would like to thank anybody that I could. I've really felt bad about it my whole life because that guy was so special. He was special. That guy was special. I on my video the other day, I talked about the airplane crash where those guys were burnt, and who comes along but the only person in the world that could save their lives. In the middle of nowhere, in a forest, who should show up but the only person in the world that could save their lives? And that's how I feel about my near-death hero. He was not just an aware person, but this guy was an incredible athlete. An incredible athlete, okay? We're talking Johnny Weissmuller swimming type abilities and the medical training, okay? And how to get the water out of my lungs. And then he just wouldn't give up. He simply would not give up when everyone else was saying, oh, he's dead, he's dead. My mom said that I was completely gray. My lips were almost black. They were so purple. And they were all convinced I was dead. And after 6 minutes, the lady with the watch told my mom that I was dead, that she was explaining to her about medical whatever the fuck it was. But after 5 minutes, okay, and now it was 6 minutes. But it was probably at least 2 minutes, or 3 minutes longer than 6. So I was dead for 10 minutes. And he refused to give up. This is what I remember of the rest of that day and the next day. And why I think I have lung problems. So my lungs are abnormally large. I have what they call crushed glass nodules growing on my lungs. I've always suffered my whole life from bronchitis. I would get pneumonia and asthma and all kinds of lung problems my whole life, even up to today. And I think it was because of the algae. The water was thick. I mean, you could literally barely see your hand in front of your face like this. It was so thick. I'd never seen it that bad. I hated it because I was a swimmer. I was a water person, you know what I mean? And having the lake like that was really depressing. But my lungs burned. I remember the burning. terrible burning, like on fire. And I remember laying on the bed and I could hear the people behind me talking, and all I could think about was my lungs were on fire. Yeah, he was my near-death superhero. The guy was a combination of many things, just an amazing person. I hope he had the happiest life. I hope he had lots of kids that buried him in love. I hope that he was a great grandfather and had great grandchildren climbing all over him and saying, "We love you." And I hope he had just had a wonderful life. I hope he had a wonderful life. Some of what I do now is to make up to him for all of the wasted time in my life, the stupid shit I did in my life, the harm I did to others in my life, is to try to make it up for him. You know what I mean? So he wouldn't be disappointed in me. He was special. He was the only guy. I truly believe, I know for a fact he was the only guy there that day because no one else knew I was in trouble. No one else, I mean, I'm sure he sat there and went, okay, this kid I should be seeing him by now. And he made the decision to, I mean, take action in a way that was like a fucking superhero. The guy had to sprint half a football field into the water, go another 50, 60 yards, find me, swim me back to the shore, and then take me back, carried me over his shoulder, they said. And I believe that was him trying to get the water out of me. He slung me over his shoulder with my head down and ran back to the middle of the parking lot. And I also think he did that because the asphalt was warm. The asphalt was warmer than anywhere else. And he laid me down and started working on me. It's just a combination of knowledge and medical expertise and determination and athleticism. He was the only person there that day. That was it. I'm only alive because that special person was there. And that's kind of how the universe works. This is why, and you know, you don't have to save a little boy. You don't have to, I mean, all you have to do is just be nice to someone. The smallest little thing can have the biggest consequences, okay? But that guy, yeah, he's a superhero to me.